What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Roots. So I'm going to review a 2009 mixtape by Jennings. Basically this product is called Soundtrack to an Indictment and it came out somewhere in late 2009. So the pitch behind it as far as what's first going to happen, there's not actually like a super ton of information about this mixtape here. Jennings is still more relatively low key within the sense just within the depiction. It's not a super ton of his products that are commonly known about. I mean nowadays in the post kind of Jelly Roll blowing up world as far as this pitch going to happen, he is a pretty good wingman to Jelly Roll as far as this first going to happen. So he's caught on a lot of attention within the past 3, 4, 5 years. Some of those type of aspects within it, but it's just kind of the tone as far as like the stuff that he was doing back in the 2000s when it was more rap oriented and pitches like that, or at least more kind of in like a Hustler's Makeshift type format, some of that type fare. Less of like the Struggle Jennings that I reviewed recently, which was I Am Struggle from 2013, the more country fried kind of Jelly Roll similar type stuff, but more in like a more traditional, more in like a Dat Piff mixtape type fare. It's just the content of some of these are just less information with the tone. There's just some ones as far as what's first going to happen. I was looking up like a Struggle Jennings interview, and apparently he dropped like a collaboration album with Jelly Roll back in 2006. So I'm going to have to check out that one if I can find it. It's just within the tone, not super commonly. Wikipedia says that he had been dropping mixtapes as far back as like 2003 or even the year 2000 or further. So it's just within the pitch as far as saying that he has a good collective of some of these, but a lot of these may be a lot trickier to track down. The Soundtrack to an Indictment is definitely a pretty classic type one within those pitches, just ripped out of like the Dat Piff era of like some of those classic type times. It has fares on this particular product that are similar. It has songs on this particular product that are similar to like the eras of like Jeezy and USDA folks like that. Some of those type folks, Rocco, Gucci Mane, some of those particular type folks like the late 2000s, early 2010s. So it's a good type pitch, very trendy to like the styles behind it. It's real. Feels ripped out of those particular times. So if you like albums by Jeezy like The Recession and the USDA album Cold Summer, some of those type pitches along with Rick Ross's Teflon Don, minor traces of Waka Flocka's Flockavelli, not as full bound, but just kind of within the pitch. It's just like a Hustler's traditional type product to something that just feels like those hustle type anthems that just feel like MySpace rap kind of anthems ripped out of 2008, 2009 pitches like that. So it's a good type tone. A lot of great hooks on here as far as this pitch can go. Just some good aspects. It's that traditional type fare. Just breaks for the goal, breaks for some commercial values in terms of being able to do that within a mixtape type format. So it has some nice ones on here. Some ones like Enchilada are pretty nice ones for that particular type fare. There's some commercial ones within like a country rap kind of sense, like Coming Home, the intro. I want to say that Feds on My Back's a pretty commercial bound type one. I'm Losing My Mind's another nice one for some of those hooky type appeals within it. So it's just some good nice ones. I think I Hustle Baby's another nice one. So this High Roller Crush type dude's a pretty good hook artist as far as those first can happen. He delivers like a lot of hooks on here as far as those good aspects kind of go. So it's a good concept. But basically the thing about this product, there weren't seemingly singles out this product, but out of the 14 songs in here, I wound up recommending 12 and a half. So I don't talk about the descriptions of one of these because I just recently decided to give like a minor recommendation to this one. But it's kind of within the aspect as far as saying that pretty much there's just only 1.5 song. It's really only just 1.5 songs as far as those first going to happen that I don't recommend full bound. Now it's not going to get full blown like a 10 out of 10, but it is going to get like a 9.75. Just the excellence of this product is pretty supreme within the aspect behind a very superior type fold. Just nails it on those particular vibes, and especially for 2009. I feel like a lot of fares within this. This seems like something on Dat Piff back in the day that probably didn't even have 50,000 downloads. I'd have to say maybe it might have had like 15,000, maybe 8,000, something like that. I don't know how popular Struggle Jennings was back in like 2010 and 2012, some of those type fairs. I mean, he was always kind of brewing, kind of similar to Jelly Roll back in those days. He was kind of ahead of the times for that particular pitch. It was just within tone as far as saying some excellent type of feel. So it just has that real good aspect as far as nailing a lot of these. Jelly Roll is on here a couple times, which is pretty dope to kind of get that. A Jelly Roll affiliate who was on like Jelly Roll's mixtape, Whiskey, Weed, and Waffle House. Worm is also on here a couple times, good type fare, and even Struggle Jennings' mother is on this particular product. So some good type fares. Drumma Boy's on here. Like that particular pitch, there's a chick named Dallas Green who does a pretty good job with one of these hooks on here. Just some good concepts for that. I really like this High Roller Crush type dude with some of his real pop rap type hooks that just feels ripped out of like the Myspace-era and like the promo single type era as far as this pitch can go for like some good promo and date night kind of step out. So it's good type feels. Pretty glitzy and glossy type out within those appeals. But let's go ahead and say out of like I said, out of 14 songs, 12 and a half I recommend. So only 1.5 songs I don't recommend on here. One of which is Can You Hear the Sirens, and then the Almost song is Mom's song as far as this pitch can go. So I'll talk about the Almost song first. So basically Mom's song, I do recommend this song within a relative type sense. It's the only one I'm not going to have a description for because I recently decided to add it. I do like this particular song on here. It's just kind of the concept. I wish it wouldn't have been in the form of just being called Mom's song. Like I like Struggle Jennings' mom being on the hook as far as those fairs going to happen, but I just think it probably should have just been like a hustle song more so than like the pitch. And maybe that was actually what it was, but it just feels a little bit more denoted to the mother type fare behind it. If it had just been like called something Struggle or something like that, it just kind of like something like the struggle is real, some sort of line like that, just from the pitch of it. It just been like a drowsy type one, but it's just kind of within the pitch. I mean, there are necessities for having songs for your mother as far as those fairs can happen, but it's just within the pitch. It just feels kind of strange that a mother song designated to his mother, he would have his mother on there. Like when when Tupac did Dear Mama, was within the pitch that he didn't actually throw his mother on the song. So I don't know. It's strange context of like the atmosphere kind of. It's a good song within the pitch, within the most part, just within the. I mean, it's real malaise type one, something you listen to about 4:30, 5:30 p.m. pitches like that. It's like the drear of like a standard kind of lengthy work day within the pitch. It sounds a little bit more to like recent struggle Jennings within some of those type pitches, those country fried type ones that he do for like the makeshift dredge. But it's just kind of concept that I like the hook by Struggle Jennings' mother on here is good pitch behind that, but it just kind of feels like I don't know, just probably should have just been like a typical type song within the format behind it. I mean, I like it still. I mostly recommend that song. And then basically, Can You Hear the Sirens? This is another kind of makeshift type one within a sense that's more recent to like current Struggle Jennings as far as what's first going to happen. Now this one just feels like a light lick, kind of just more maybe like a light, kind of like a mildly kind of glazed and ghetto kind of lighthearted, just kind of picnic type music, just outdoor type fare, just in a light summer type sense. It's kind of the concept, a little bit malaise about it, just in a sense. Like a lot of this product does have a pretty ghetto, and just so a lot of this particular product does have a pretty ghetto and just overall slummish type feel. There's some ones on here that just have the concept of just kind of being seedy, kind of in the trenches, and just like the concept of the come up and some of those type fares is still on the grit and the grind as far as this fair's gonna happen. Do you like the concept of just like this particular city grime as far as this pitch can go? But it's just kind of the concept that maybe I could eventually like that one, but I don't know. Maybe I could appreciate that one a lot more later on. But within the pitch, I just don't know the ofteness of the fare behind how often I listen to it. It's like some good cookout type fare and a more glazed and just more kind of forlorn type sense, but just kind of affability. I mean, there's just some ones. I mean, for the most part, this album is just a clean sweep in terms of the aspect of like the hitting blockade of these songs, just one after the other. But it's just within the pitch. I mean, it's not so much like I'm not saying this mixtape is gonna get like a 7 or an 8. Not saying that like this mixtape is gonna get like a 7 or an 8.5, something like that within some of those type pitches, but it just in terms of like getting like a 10 out of 10, dismissed it by like a minor hair, I just would say within the pitch. But I don't know, it's just probably, I'd say there might be songs on this oftenest that I probably listen to a lot more, but I just think when I download this mixtape, which that's another thing about this mixtape, it's a little bit trickier to find. It used to be on DatPiff, obviously, but DatPiff shut down. It's not on Internet Archive anymore as far as this first gonna happen, so it's just a little bit trickier to kind of find, but I just look after it. And this question, if I were to download this tape, if some of these songs that I didn't recommend, if how often I would listen to them with the pitch, if I did throw them on my MP3 player and pitch like that, or just around with like the designation of the rotation behind it. So it's just within the tone behind it, but I look after it. This mixtape gets a 9.75 out of 10. So just with some of these here, just some vicious type ones. The Jelly Roll songs really hit pretty heavily, I'd have to say here. Feds on My Back's a real nice one that says Jelly Roll on here. It's like a 2000s kind of pop rap and promo like single, kind of get within some of those tones. Just a jazzy step out, I would feel like. Good hustle, hop to it. I'd have to say about this one, good song and stack work as far as this first gonna happen. So it's definitely the concept, but just the grit towards it, just in the pitch, like that standard kind of traditional late 2000s, early 2010s type fare, kind of blurs and blends those lines pretty well. It's like I think the concept behind like 2008, 2009 is it was kind of known that drill's gonna start blowing up within like 2010, 2011. So it's just kind of the fare. It's kind of the fare that a lot of these just feel like conduit songs that are just kind of a taste of both kind of trends as far as those affluences kind of go. So some of this feels like ripped out of like the Drummer Boy, Jeezy Recession type era, some of those type fares, and Rocco from Self-Made, some of those type pitches. But then some of these feel like more of like Waka Flocka and Rick Ross type fashions within some of those type fares. Gucci Mane from like 2010s kind of drill and pitches like that. I'd say those Lex Luger type fares. But there are plenty of those that just like Feds on My Back's definitely one of those 2009 MySpace anthems that feels like Don Omar and Tayo Cruz and some of those type folks. Pitbull within certain senses, just folks like that. I'd have to say in particular, this pop rap type appeal, this good type concept for some of those good nice appeal. Definitely for a mixtape that's outstanding. Enchiladas, another one that's just like that. Real like the glisten appeal. This one's like a stock kind of pasted in the evening wind kind of commerce kind of get here. Just some after worship kind of leftover grit. I'd have to say about this in particular. Just some grimy excitement kind of get within those tones. So it retains the concept like that hustle grind. Retains like the concept of like that hustle grime as far as this pitch can go. But just the concept of also having like some good shine as far as the aspect of just kind of having the concept of just like some step out and just like a more like it has the CD type factor of just getting to the money as far as those aspects going to go. Just the concept of just hopping to it, getting towards it, just stacking up work pitches like that. But kind of, I mean, it just does in the hustler's makeshift. Just within the fair blue collar type fashions within the same sense, but just kind of the concept of this kind of just does it in a more ghetto and kind of slummish type sense within the aspect behind. So it's just good aspect for some of that type fare, but it's just some excitement for getting ready to step out, maybe have a few shots at a bar, pitches like that. It's some good commerce. Do You Need a Ride's a nice one. Really like the appeal behind this. It's like a throwback type song for like the pitches of some things I definitely remember within those tones. It's like a classic on a strip club, late 2000s bravado. Do You Need a Ride's like some classic on a strip club, late 2000s bravado. I would definitely say here, it just feels like Jeezy, definitely I would have to say, and it's like a good hustler's unwind to kind of get within those tones. It's very bopping within the sense for us. It's going to have. So just the aspect, as far as just being able to say here, this just feels like something that like Blood Raw, Slick Pulla, some of those type folks would have done 2008, early 2009, some of those type fares within the pitch. Just feels like a traditional kind of USDA type, strip club type anthem that feels brassy and pitched like that. Just kind of within the pitch, something just ripped off the Recession, one of those type fares, good type appeal. Like the concept of like some Struggle Jennings and Drummer Boy kind of team up, some good type fare for that. G With It's another highlighted one. Now there are some songs on here that are a little bit more melded and more homebound within some of those type pitches, but a lot of these night venue and just step out type songs really hit the nail on the head. G With It's one of those type ones. It's like a typical kind of oozing late 2000s club ambience kind of get here, just like Rocco from Self Made at 2008 and Blood Raw's 2008 album. Some of those type fares just feels like one of those in the trenches kind of more. Yes, feels like one of those just in the trenches kind of grinding hustlers within the pitches of like late 2008, 2009. It's like some haunting Recession like Flash kind of get within some of those type tones. So that same sort of oozing type 808s that kind of Jeezy would do with like songs like Who Dat and some of those type ones off the Recession. And then folks like those late 2000, those 2008 folks like Rocco, Two Pistols, Blood Raw, some of those type folks. So just within tones as far as nailing that. Good type tones. I feel like Fall Like Leaves, another quality one as well. It's like a brooding kind of night venue ambience kind of get here with like trendy taste of like 2010s drill. I'd have to say about this one, just Get Crunk definitely is a good wave maker. So this one's one of those noise makers that just feels like I Am Not a Star off of, this particular song feels like I Am Not a Star by Rick Ross off of Teflon Don. Some of that same sort of pounding kind of bravado, that instantaneous kind of recognizable drill from those particular eras. Also like Lil Wayne's John from the Carter 4, some of those type pitches, but it also does with like leftover taste of like some of that particular pop rap kind of ambience of like a late 2000s kind of nightclub push, is late 2000s kind of nightclub push, something that like Tayo Cruz and like folks like that, something that folks like Tayo Cruz and Don Omar would kind of do some of those type pitches. Other folks like that, Baby Bash, just a bunch of folks within those relative aspects that I'd say just good type tones for some of those type aspects. Good nice pop rap type push, kind of a blend of it, but there's not like when I was saying that there's some drill on here within a relative sense. I feel like Street Dream is kind of like that within a milder type sense as well. But it's this kind of pitch that this is kind of something that was getting ready to explode on the scene like next year as far as those first going to happen. So just managed to do it within a sense, but it's just kind of concept that I do like this kind of conduit type sense of just the trends that were kind of going on 2008 2010. Good type of appeal. I Hustle Baby is a pretty quality one. Same sort of pitch within that. It's like a typical kind of hustle, usual livings kind of get here. Just glitzy commerce. I would feel like about this one, just a good relief from Day Shift. The song is like a good relief from Day Shift. I'd have to say, and like a primer for some venues as far as those fares going to go. Yeah, I Hustle Baby is just like some of these venue type heaters within this particular product here. Just a good type one to kind of get within that relative. Just the concept of after worship type fare. Just the pitch behind just in a more urban type sense. This one's not as country fire within a sense, but this has a good aspect for like something probably within the same night as like a song like Do You Need a Ride. Just the concept of that same standard night. Just some great primer for venue type fare. Just some step out, get some drinks in your system, figure out what's going to happen, get some bells on the phone as far as this pitch kind of go. Just get towards it and get ready to get crunk for like a typical. I mean, this feels more of like this kind of Thursday type music more so than the full blown blitz behind it. But it's definitely a good concept of like the excitement of just like, all right, I'm going to be having fun within the next few hours or day or so within the pitch behind. So it's a good type tone for that. Street Dream's a pretty nice one. Now this has particularly Worm and Jelly Roll on here as far as this first going to happen, and a cat named D-Roll on the hook. So this is like a nice hooky kind of quick times push kind of get here. This one reminds me of like Push It by Rick Ross. Not quite as much with like the 80s sample, but just within the pitch of like a more frenetic kind of hustle type one where it's just like, yeah, I got to get towards it. Just the concept of just living quick, some of those type fares. It's like some seedy kind of evening living. I'd have to say about this song, good song for snack runs, pitches like that, a good type tone for us. It's just kind of concept of this, just the relative commute of it, not so much like full, doesn't have to be like full bound kind of makeshift commerce kind of speeding as far as this pitch can go, but just the concept of just kind of being more busybody within a sense as far as this pitch can happen, just caught up and just enjoying the concept of just being committed to like the lifestyle as far as this pitch can go. So it's this conduct of that particular fare is good aspect for some of those. It feels like some good Miami fried and just southern fried type flair as far as this pitch can go. Dope Boy is a pretty quality one as well as like a glitzy kind of on the night scene flourish kind of get here. Definite nice one to sip a cold brew. I feel like just some quality ambience with homies. I definitely have to say here, just routine kind of day and night as far as this fair is going to go. So Doughboy just goes in tandem with some of these venue type ambience type ones. Just a standard brewing type one, just that 3-6 Mafia kind of folks like 3-6, just that 3-6 Mafia kind of night ambience, folks like that, Rocco, Jeezy, some of those type folks, just typical kind of late 2000s type era that they just goes great with songs like Enchilada, Do You Need a Ride, G With It, just without like the more glitzy type hook on here. It's just a little bit more of like a more traditional kind of mean mug type music, just in the concept of a little bit more hardcore within a sense, but still has a ton of like some good type of aspects behind it. So it's just a good, nice one, just typical kind of rap type, typical kind of late 2000s type fashion, but like some stunt type tunes, just a little bit more in traditional type sense. It's not quite as makeshift grab, and it's not as much like a makeshift kind of pop grab, I'd have to say, but it's a good type tone. Lost Time is a quality one. Now this switches up the tone. Some of these next ones I'm going to talk about are just a little bit more in like a homely type sense, or more personal. I'd have to say the concept of the more struggle side of it, just in the pitch, as far as talking about with Struggle, was just talking about the pitch of Struggle Jennings kind of songwriting, so some good type of appeals. But Lost Time's like a dreary kind of slog day in between, kind of Lost Time's like a dreary kind of slog day, I'd have to say here. Just real malaise about it, just in the fashion, just feels like a rainy day, just feels like a rainy day type fare, just kind of an in between kind of straightening day, I'd have to say here. Just get some products done, just within console, get those bills paid, just the pitch behind, just kind of getting laced up some of those particular type pitches, but just typical kind of Migos type fashion of straightening some of those type pitches, so just loosening out, getting like a tire for the whip, something like that, just getting an extra tire, some of those type pitches, standard fare, oil changes, those pitches, just like getting more traditional type fashion, getting like the food for like the stuff that you need for like dinner, or just the pitches behind, just figuring out the organization behind it. Kind of does in a more glum type sense. This feels like a more ghetto and slummish kind of grind. This particular song feels like a more ghetto and slummish kind of grind, it has to say, and a good song to hop to money as far as this first can happen. So just one of those Tupac type ones where he would talk about with like, I forget the name of like the song, maybe I'll put it in the connotation, but one of those type ones off of like, one of those type ones like I Wonder If Heaven Got a Ghetto, some of those type pitches, and other ones like Keep Your Head Up, but just not quite as uplifting within senses, that particular kind of slummish day to day as far as those first can happen. It's just a good type sense, definitely a concept when I was saying about some of that straightening is the conduct. I mean, even if it's not where you have to actually fix up your whip or something like that, it's just within the pitch as far as being able to say just a concept of just like a more kind of lousy type day within the fashion, but just the concept of just like getting some good type moments just to kind of straighten out. Just good song and probably smoke a nice joint too, something like that, and just kind of straighten out, and just kind of good nice day to straighten out your mood, tidy up your day as far as those pitch kind of happen. Just get like Arby's, something like that, good type tone to kind of straighten out, just figure out the fixtures. So it's a good type pitch for that. Just look after the concept, but just slummish type fashion, just within those traditions of what Tupac would do back in like 93 and 96, some of those type fairs. Tupac would do in 93, 96, some of those type fairs. Good type pitch for that. I'm Losing My Mind's a quality one as well, and this is another one within a pop rap type sense. It says another quality hook from High Roller Crush for us as first gonna go. It's like a hella hooky kind of good choice for like a quick promo single, I'd have to say here. Just some late 2000s glamour, definitely social vibe nights as far as this pitch gonna go. So it's just good conduct, social type spark within some of these type ones. It's good aspect. Now I do question why this song was only a minute and a half, or actually less than a minute and a half. I probably think it should have had at least one extra verse in there. It's just some pitches. The same thing with Coming Home intros, just within the fairs of some of those type ones. It would have been an interesting type pitch to have these be a little bit lengthier, because it probably would have been within the fashion these would hit a little bit heavier. But it's just within the fair. It's a good type song, but it is on the short side. Coming Home is kind of within that fair. I don't know if I talked about this one. I'll go ahead and talk about it again. Coming Home is like a glazed kind of country fried after work shift cruise that I had to say about this particular fair. Just smoking the whip, definitely some of that type fair. Just summer fried type aspects there. Grab some fried food pitches like that, and some good vibes kind of have within those aspects. So just a little bit more bound. This is the sort of stuff that Struggle Jennings would evolve into with his later albums as far as those fairs going to happen. Just something that feels like a jelly roll song, just within something that just feels like a jelly roll song within some of those type pitches that I'd say. Just a concept of like that standard kind of malaise. Almost feels like something Kid Rock would have done if he still did rap rock, some of those type pitches. Just a good concept within some of those type fairs behind it. It's typical kind of dredge, just the aspect of like the real kind of, it's the aspect of like that real slog kind of feeling, just pretty similar to Lost Time, some of those type pitches. These are some personal type ones that just nail the particular aspects. So these are just some ghetto type songs within the pitch, but they nail that particular aspect, just like that standard grind that just takes it back to like Tupac, Tech 9, some of those more makeshift type dreary type songs within the pitch behind. So it's good type aspects there. And then When You Come Home is a nice quality one I really appreciate. And then When You Come Home is another nice one as well. I really appreciate this one particularly here. It's like a heroin and gas kind of trap breaker to kind of get within those tones. This by breaker, I mean, this is a real type one, kind of a tugging type one within the sense that this has like that heroin aspect, that just really has like some just kind of real talk type grit about it. This is a particular song that has that real talk type grit about it. It has, say here, just a taste of sober night outing as far as this pitch goes. So it's just an aspect, some of that type fair. Usually these are more wintry type songs within the pitch. Just some of that aspect of like shit is real out here as far as those aspects gonna go. Just the concept as far as saying, it's kind of the sobering type aspect. I mean, I look within the tone, just kind of those tastes. If you are just kind of a little bit more like the less of the BS and kind of the more fun and games type aspect, less of like the reindeer games as far as those fairs going. If you're in less of like a mood for like the reindeer games as far as those fairs going to go, just kind of a more traditional type fashion of having like some urban type mentality, some hustle type makeshift, but just in the sense of getting to the money and pitches like that, or just stacking up, getting the job taken care of. Some of those type fairs just more traditional. It's kind of the concept, but just a little bit more straightforward. I do like the tone behind this and the pitch behind it, just real type 1. Good type 1. I feel like this one just has a little bit of the heroin type feeling about this one, just the ghastliness as to how it particularly kind of happened. It's talking about folks having problems within the particulars. Just some good type concepts kind of get some of this here. There's a good concept just within pitch. Just kind of, it's the personal type song that nails the particular effects of like the more drama. It's a personal type song that just nails the effects of like the drama type fashion. What particularly goes along with like quick time as far as those first gonna have. So just good aspect behind that particular fair. Good typeness kind of get there. So it's just good concept. And I don't know. Struggle Jennings is not quite as haunting as like folks like Tech Nine and Chris Calico, some of those type folks, but this is like, I do feel like songs like When You Come Home, just the fashion behind that, just the sobering type song. I just like the concept of like some sobering type moments on here, not because of particularly promoting like sober living within the pitch within that particular fair, but just the aspect of just having some ones that just are kind of like harrowing. It's just, I like the heroin type aspect as far as those fairs can go. Definitely need some more moments like that. Lost Time is definitely more dreary and slog within a sense, but I do feel like When You Come Home just has that heroin type aspect, so it's a good type of appeal. But I just look within it. So this particular mixtape is a 9.75 just in the appeals. As I say, the social score I'll probably give like a 9.75 as well, because these songs do hit pretty heavily. There's a lot of good looks on here, like the Drummer Boy beat on here, like Jelly Roll and Warren beat on here a few times, like this high roll of Crush type do within the aspect of some of his pop rap type hooks that just feel ripped out of the Myspace-era. A lot of glitz and just overall pop rap aspects that just feel like a vanilla mixtape within those appeals. Definitely something you should have been listening to within those tones if you just appreciate like the MySpace type movement pitches like that, like the late 2000s Dat Piff era between like 2008 to 2014 or pitched some of those type fairs. So this traditional type 1, very low key. Like I said, I don't know if this mixtape really stacked up more than 9 or 10,000 downloads back in the day. It was just a pitch that definitely deserved to within the overall glitz and just the grabs that it makes for the appeal, and it does it with pretty damn well good success, I'd have to say. It's kind of the concept that this feels like Struggle Jennings is usually just going to be more off the wayside, but hopefully this is definitely not a product to ignore, as I say. But the concept behind it, the reason why it's getting a 9.75 is just within the pitch, as far as saying that this does not seem as seemingly available. So within the reality behind it, especially with mixtapes being a lot trickier to download, it's just from the pitch that, there's really not a ton of places that really have this particular mixtape, so I'd definitely get a hold of it. I mean, it is free within the pitches behind it. You might be able to purchase it on Amazon if you do want to pay up for it, as far as this first going to happen, but it's just within the trajectory that's just not as commonplace. So that's the only reason why I wouldn't get a 10. But in terms of the future, like Struggle Jennings recently dropped an album in like the spring of 2024, so he has plenty of albums within the pitch. Definitely going to get to some of those, but I do want to get to some of these lesser known mixtapes as far as those first going to happen, just to see what's particularly about those. Particularly if he's done some stuff with Jelly Roll, or if there's actually another mixtape like this one. This was a thoroughly enjoyable mixtape here, so I definitely question if Struggle Jennings had more of these, particularly in like the early 2010s, some of those type fashions. If there were more of these, I'd definitely like to find them, but like I said, his discography is a little bit tougher to track down. But within the pitch, this is a classic here, easy enough to see. At a Dat Piff's prime era, definitely brings back some remnants of GZ from like late 2000s, and like folks like Gucci Mane, Rick Ross, and those type folks like the early 2010s. So it just does that in spades. It's the aspect of it. Real blistering mixtape, easy enough to recommend if you can find it.